Conversations with Azu Ishekwele.
Few hours to the presidential elections in the United States, and the media space is abuzz with contentions relating to the most important presidential elections. Arguably, I'll hurry to add that the most important presidential elections in the world. The race appears tight between former President Donald Trump and incumbent Vice President Kamala Harris. And this forms the basis of our discussion on today. It's aptly titled Tight Race, a letter from abroad to Michelle Obama. Azu, the writer of the column Conversation with Azu, which is regularly published on the back page of Leadership newspaper and syndicated worldwide, is joining me on Zoom from Lagos to discuss some of the issues pertaining to the American presidential elections. Hello, Azu.
Hello, Julius. Hello, everyone. Nice to be here. I thought you were going to say that I was joining you virtually from the US, but that's okay. I guess it's what it is.
Well, I do not know if you're in the US virtually or physically as it is. All right, that's good. So I'll dive straight into the topic. What has Michelle Obama got to do with this election? Why are you addressing an open letter to her from abroad?
Well, Michelle Obama, as I'm sure you know, is probably one of the biggest assets of the Democratic Party and one of the biggest supporters, obviously, of Vice President Kamala Harris. And so she spoke on the 26th. There was a rally at which she spoke on the 26th. And she asked the question, rhetorically, I suppose, it was a rhetorical question, I suppose. Why is the race even this tight? I mean, so I thought that was also reflecting the sentiment in many parts of the world where people have asked themselves that question. And I thought to exercise trying to look at some of the possible answers to the question she asked on the 26th in Michigan.
All right. In your article in August, while President Joe Biden was still the candidate of the Democratic Party, yes, you stated that Hillary Clinton lost the presidency to Donald Trump, probably because America wasn't ready for a female president.
Correct.
Has anything changed?
I think that some things have changed a bit, but again, it's a measure of how that remains a factor. A number of the things I said back in August, it's a measure of how those things remain strong factor, that the race is come down to the wire as it is. Yeah, there have been improvements in terms of the attitude of conservative Americans to a woman president. The Congress today has about 25% representation, which is better than what it used to be in the past, which was one of the sentiments I reflected then. Which is a plus and a positive. And I think also the salience and predominance of abortion and women's rights to what they want to do with their body has resonated with a lot of young voters, especially young female voters across the US. And that's been a huge rallying point for Kamala, obviously. I think that that's, and then of course, I don't know how the stardust is going to settle, but of course, she's also significantly, exploring and exploiting star power of a number of people like Taylor Swift, and the rest of them, Oprah Winfrey and all of these people, who ordinarily would try to stay out of politics. But obviously, these people have come out very strongly and are sort of mobilizing a base which ordinarily would have been lethargic in times of politics.
All right. There are Black folks in the United States who have argued that former President Barack Obama did more for the gay community than he did for Blacks. Do you think this will rub off Kamala Harris? Does it make the race any tighter?
Well, it depends on those you are talking to. Obviously, for liberals, it's an issue. Sexual orientation is a major issue and is a huge issue in America. But I think it's a rallying point just as much as it's also a huge point of division among especially in conservative circles and evangelical circles as well. There are people who do not believe, and you can find them across minority, across racial lines, if you like, who do not think that it's the right way to go, that wokeism is the right way to go, and all the battle cry in defense of the rights of gay people, that they don't believe that. So yeah, obviously that is and remains an issue across many communities, quite strongly also in significant number of Black communities. It does remain. But I think beyond that is also the issue of economic empowerment. Those who sort of have a huge axe to grind with former President Barack Obama believe that apart from what he did or did not do for the LGBT community, that he also, in terms of economic opportunities, that under him, Black folks didn't get along as some of them would have expected they would get along. So they hold that, of course, against him and against the candidate that is promoting Kamala.
All right. Kamala Harris seems to be riding on a crest of optimism, just like Barack Obama did way back in 2008. And do you think she could pull it through after all?
I think it's very difficult to say, but I have a strong feeling that the momentum is in her favor right now, especially in my view because of the fact that some ordinarily lethargic or apathetic people have been energized by some of the issues surrounding this election, and energized obviously to vote in her favor because of those issues that I said, issues regarding women's rights and women's freedom to use their bodies, and also I think there is a growing concern about the very violent rhetoric, increasingly violent rhetoric of President Trump, especially against immigrants. So so when you come to a tight race, especially a race that is down to the wire in about 5 or 6 states or so, that have significant immigrant population, I'm sure that these are some of the things that might, for them, decide which way to vote. And so yes, I think that momentum is in Kamala's favor. I would not be surprised if she wins.
All right. Let me put another question this way. The Republican candidate, former President Donald Trump, is irrepressible. He was impeached twice. He's had a barrage of convictions, and everything some other American president would have resigned and kept off the presidential race or kept off the White House for good. But here is Trump coming and using all the adversity, stepping on it to even climb higher. What should the world expect if Donald Trump surprises everyone?
Well, I think the world has an idea of who Donald Trump is. Donald Trump is not a stranger, and so interestingly, why some folks tend to gravitate towards him is that they say that with Trump, what you see is what you get, so Trump is not a stranger to the world. So I think that rich people, and this is, rich people in America and different parts of the world, obviously, are gravitating towards him because they feel that under, Trump's economic policies will tend to favor them a lot more, especially in areas of taxes and how they can grow and regenerate their wealth and all of those things. But the world will not receive Trump as a stranger. And interestingly, also, I have been watching the news and following the trends in a number of African countries. you'd be surprised in a place like Kenya, for example, a number of folks out there, in spite of whatever the rest of the world may be saying about Trump, they say, well, with Trump, as I said earlier on, you know where you stand. So there are folks that are rooting for Trump because they believe that with him, you obviously know where you stand. But the Trump one was obviously not. Was what Trump one, in my view, Trump one was, if Trump one was bad for the world, Trump 2 is even going to be worse, especially given where we all are in the world today. But we'll wait to see what happens.
All right. To read Azu's open letter to Michelle Obama, please visit us on azuishekwene.com and stay tuned for a possible sequel on the outcome of elections next time out here. Azu, lest I forget, there's supposed to be an activity tomorrow, precisely a book reading.
Oh, yes. Thanks for bringing that.
Lagos. And what is the update?
Well, thanks for bringing that up, Julius. Yes, you're right. I was supposed to have the book reading for Writing for Media, Monetizing It, which we had very, widely publicized for tomorrow, the 5th, but we had to suspend it when we got the news that non-academic staff of universities were going on strike. Interestingly, just last night, I also then got the news that they had suspended the strike, but we do not have enough time to turn things around and get ready for tomorrow. So I would like to thank all those who have also reached out to me and use this opportunity to also inform them once again that the event has been postponed and a new date will be announced sooner than later.
All right, thanks for coming on the show, Azu.
Thank you so much for having me, Julius. I'll see you after the US elections. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Conversations with Azu Ishekwene.